The battlefield was quiet now, but it was not the peace of safety. It was the silence after violence. Broken ships lay scattered across the ground like bones of giants. Smoke curled into the sky, and the air smelled of metal, fire, and blood. The alien warrior lay on the ground, his breathing heavy, his armor broken, his body covered in cuts and burns. Once he had stood tall, proud, and feared by many, but now he could not even lift his weapon. His sharp eyes that once glowed with anger now only showed pain. He had cried for mercy when the last blow came. Not because he was weak, but because he still wanted to live. No one expected an alien warrior to beg. It was shameful in his culture, but in the end, life was stronger than pride. Around him, the battlefield was empty. Soldiers from both sides had left. Some carried away by their comrades, others buried under the ruins. He thought he was alone, dying slowly under the cold sky. But then, footsteps echoed, steady and heavy. A human soldier was walking through the wreckage. The alien narrowed his eyes, expecting the end. The human soldier was young, but his face was hard. Dirt covered his uniform. His rifle was in his hands, ready to fire. He stopped when he saw the alien warrior on the ground. For a long moment, neither moved, only the sound of crackling fire. And distant explosions filled the air. The human lifted his weapon higher, pointing it straight at the alien's chest. The alien closed his eyes, waiting for the shot. But the shot never came. Instead, the human lowered the gun slowly. His expression unreadable, he stepped closer, his boots crunching against shattered glass and metal. "Why are you still here?" the alien muttered weakly, his voice rough. "The battle is over. Finish it." The human did not answer. He only studied the wounded warrior with sharp eyes. The alien felt anger rise in his chest. Was this human mocking him? He tried to push himself up, but his body failed him. Pain tore through his chest. He fell back down, breathing fast. The human crouched beside him, close enough that the alien could see his scars. Small lines across his cheek, marks of battles. "Past, you should have killed me already," the alien whispered. "No human shows mercy." The human's jaw tightened, but still, he said nothing. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small canteen. The alien frowned, confusion cutting through his pain. The human opened the cap and held it out. For a moment, the warrior did not move. He wondered if it was a trick, poisoned water perhaps. Yet the human's eyes were steady, not cruel, not mocking, only tired. Slowly, with shaking hands, the alien took the canteen. The water was warm, tasting of metal. But to him, it was life itself. He drank deeply. When he handed it back, the human simply nodded and put it away. The silence grew heavier between them. The alien finally asked, Why would you help your enemy?" The human leaned back on his heels, looking at the broken battlefield around them. "Because I know what it feels like to be left behind," he said softly. The alien blinked, surprised. He had not expected an answer, much less one filled with truth. Somewhere in the distance, voices shouted. The sound of searching soldiers grew nearer. Both human and alien forces were sweeping the field for survivors. The alien's heart raced. If they found him alive, he would be executed on the spot. And if human patrols found this soldier helping him, the human would be called a traitor. "You should leave," the alien said quickly. "If your people see you with me, they will not forgive it." But the human did not move. He only scanned the ruins carefully, his eyes sharp. "I am not leaving yet," he replied firmly. The alien stared at him, unable to understand. Why would a human risk so much? Why would anyone stay when survival meant running away? The silence stretched again, but this time it was not empty. It was filled with something new: suspense, uncertainty, and a spark of something the alien could not name. The fire around them hissed and popped. The battlefield seemed alive with ghosts. The alien warrior felt his chest tighten, not just from pain, but from the strange thought that this one human was different. He had cried for mercy, and he had expected death, but instead, Only a human stayed behind. Asterisk. The human soldier stood over the wounded alien warrior. The battlefield still whispered with smoke and broken echoes. He could hear voices in the distance, patrols searching, but he did not move. His hand rested on the rifle, yet his heart was not steady. He had a choice to make, the kind of choice that could decide not only his life, but also his soul. Kill the alien and return to his unit as a loyal soldier, or stay, disobey orders, and risk everything. The alien watched him with sharp but weak eyes, mistrust heavy in his gaze. Do it. The warrior whispered, his voice shaking. End it quickly, that is what humans do. But the human shook his head slowly. He lowered his rifle. His own mind replayed old memories he had buried long ago. Once, he too had been left behind, injured and bleeding. His comrades had fled to save themselves. Only silence had stayed. With him, the same silence he now saw in this alien's eyes. The memory burned like fire inside him, and he could not pull the trigger. Instead, he crouched again beside the warrior, his voice low. I am not like the others. The alien sneered, though weak. You are human. All humans are the same. But his words had no strength. They fell like broken stones in the dust. The human opened his pack again, taking out a small strip of cloth. He reached for the alien's arm, wrapping the wound clumsily, but with care. The alien flinched at first, expecting pain or trickery, but the human's hands were steady, his touch carried. No cruelty, only duty. You do not have to do this, the alien muttered. Your people will kill you for it. The human gave a faint, tired smile. Maybe, but I cannot walk away. For a moment, silence stretched between them, filled only by the distant rumble of war machines moving across the horizon. The human's heart raced. He knew he was breaking rules, betraying trust, but something deeper guided him. A voice within that said mercy was stronger than blind obedience. He thought of his family back home, his little sister who once asked him why war was always the answer. He had never been able to explain, and now, looking at this broken enemy before him, he realized he had no answer at all. The alien studied him with suspicion. Every culture had its stories of humans as ruthless killers. But this one seemed different. His eyes held no hunger for victory, only a strange heaviness, a burden he carried alone. The alien's pride fought against the strange feeling rising in his chest. He wanted to spit at the human, to curse him. But instead, he asked, why risk everything for me, a stranger, an enemy? The human's gaze drifted over the battlefield, broken weapons, burned armor, the silence of the dead. Because I do not want to become like them, he answered. Softly, I do not want to lose the last part of me that is still human. The alien froze. Not knowing how to reply, he had expected death. He had expected hatred, but not this. Not mercy wrapped in pain. Suddenly, a light flared in the distance. Voices grew louder, human patrols moving closer. The human soldier grabbed the alien's arm. Trying to lift him, the alien hissed in pain but did not resist. We need to move, the human whispered. If they find you, they will kill you without thought. The alien stared at him in disbelief. And if they find you with me, they will kill you too. The human's jaw tightened. Then I will. Take that risk. Step by step, he helped the alien rise. Supporting his weight, they stumbled across the ruins, hiding in the shadow of broken walls and shattered engines. Every sound made their hearts pound. The alien could not understand this. Human's mind. But a strange seed had been planted, a thought that maybe not all humans were the monsters his people believed. As they moved, the alien whispered weakly, your choice will cost you everything. The human only nodded, his grip firm, his steps steady. Some choices are worth the cost, he replied. And in that moment, as the battlefield stretched behind them and danger closed in ahead, the alien warrior realized something terrifying and powerful. This human was no ordinary soldier. He was a man willing to risk everything for a single act of mercy. And that made him far more dangerous than any weapon. The night around them grew. Darker, the hunt drew closer, but their fates were now tied together by one human's impossible choice. The night covered the battlefield like a dark blanket. Fires burned low in the ruins. Shadows stretched long across the broken ground. The human soldier moved carefully, supporting the alien warrior with each step. The alien's body was weak. Pain echoed through his chest with every breath, but his mind was sharper than ever. Fear gnawed at him. It was not only the fear of death, but of something he could not understand. All his life, he had been taught that humans were merciless, that they killed without thought, that they showed no weakness. Yet this one had spared him, had even helped him. That choice disturbed him more than the wounds in his body. As they crept through the wreckage, the alien's eyes darted to every shadow, every flicker of light. "They will find us," he whispered, his voice shaking. "And when they do, both of us will die." The human only pressed forward, his grip firm on the alien's arm. "Then we keep moving," he said, his voice low and steady. The alien felt shame rise inside him. Shame that he needed help from an enemy. Shame that he had cried for mercy. Warriors of his clan were meant to die with honor, not cling to life like frightened children. But he had begged, he had survived, and now he was alive because of a human. The thought made him tremble, not from weakness, but from something deeper, something he refused to name. They slipped into the ruins of a collapsed bunker, the ceiling half gone, walls scorched black inside. The air was heavy with dust. The human lowered the alien gently against a wall. The alien's chest rose and fell quickly. His sharp eyes locked on the human. "Why?" he asked again, his voice little more than a rasp. "Why not finish me?" "It would have been easier." The human sat across from him, resting his rifle on his knees, his face hidden in the flickering light. "Because I am not here to be easy," he answered. The alien turned his gaze away, but fear did not leave him. He feared what would happen if his people discovered this. He feared what would happen if the humans did. But most of all, he feared what was changing inside him. He had spent his life fighting, believing mercy was weakness, yet the human had shown it, and it had saved him. His mind whispered cruel thoughts. What if this is a trick? What if the human only wants to make me suffer longer? But when he looked into the human's tired eyes, he saw no lie, only a heavy truth. Outside, the night grew colder. Patrol lights swept across the ruins. The alien's heart pounded. Every sound made him think the end had come. He gripped a shard of broken metal in his hand, ready to strike if strangers appeared. The human noticed, but said nothing. He only kept watch at the bunker entrance. Minutes passed like hours, silence stretching. The alien's fear grew, not of dying, but of what survival now meant if he lived. His people would see him as weak, unworthy, and if he stayed with the human, he was betraying everything he once swore to protect. The human finally broke the silence, his voice quiet. "You are afraid." The alien bared his teeth in anger. "I fear nothing," he hissed, but his shaking hands betrayed him. The human tilted his head, studying him. "I see it in your eyes," he said calmly. "But it is not death you fear. It is the truth." The alien growled low in his throat. "And what truth is that?" "That you are more like me than you want to admit," the human answered. The words cut deeper than any wound. The alien turned his face away, unable to reply. Outside, a sudden burst of voices echoed closer. Flashlights danced across the ruins. The human crouched low, signaling for silence. Together they held their breath as shadows passed near. The alien's heart raced. Every second stretched like eternity, but the patrols moved on, fading back into the night. Relief washed over him. But so did another wave of fear. He had been saved twice now, once by mercy, once by luck. When the silence returned, the alien leaned back. Exhausted, he stared at the human again. This soldier who refused to kill him, this soldier who carried his weight. This soldier who had made a choice no one else would, and for the first time, the alien warrior feared something he had never feared before. Not the blade, not the bullet, but the bond forming between him and a human. It was fragile, unwanted, but real, and it terrified him more than death ever could. Asterisk, the night did not last forever, but the darkness carried dangers of its own. Both the human and the alien knew they could not stay hidden in the broken bunker forever. Sooner or later, hunters would come. The human leaned against the wall, listening to the distant thrum of engines. Patrols were sweeping the battlefield. Searchlights cut across the ruins like blades of fire. They were not only looking for enemies, they were looking for survivors to silence. Loose ends had no place in war. The alien shifted uncomfortably, pain stabbing his chest, every breath reminded him of weakness. He clenched his jaw, ashamed that he could not walk alone, even more ashamed that he needed the humans' help to live. "They will find us," he muttered, his voice bitter. "Your people or mine. It makes no difference. Both want me dead." The human adjusted the strap on his rifle, his gaze steady. "Then we move before they do." But the alien's suspicion burned inside him. "Why risk yourself for me?" he asked again, his sharp eyes narrowing. "If they find you with me, you will be branded traitor." The human's jaw tightened, but he only said, "I made my choice." Outside, voices echoed, harsh and commanding. Lights swept closer. The human crouched low, motioning the alien to stay quiet. Together they pressed against the rubble as footsteps approached. Through the cracks of broken stone, they saw a patrol, human soldiers scanning the area, rifles raised. Their armor gleamed faintly in the night. The alien tensed, his hand gripping a shard of metal. His instinct screamed to fight, but the human placed a hand on his arm, shaking his head slowly. Minutes dragged like hours. The patrol searched, but they did not see the two figures hidden in shadow. Finally, their boots crunched away, their voices fading into the distance. The alien exhaled shakily. "They are your own people," he whispered. "Yet you hide from them." The human nodded, his face unreadable. "If they find you, they will kill you. If they find me helping you, they will kill me too." The alien's heart pounded, fear mixing with confusion. This human did not make sense. Warriors from his own clan would have killed him without hesitation if roles were reversed. Why was this soldier different? But the danger was not only from humans. Across the ruins, a low growl echoed. Alien raiders were moving too. Their hunting cries sharp in the night air, searching for their lost warrior or to finish the dying. The alien froze, recognizing the sound. His own people, his blood, they were near. The human noticed his reaction. "Yours," he whispered. The alien gave a short nod. "Yes, and if they find me here with you, they will call me traitor too." The human scanned the darkness, calculating. They were trapped between two dangers. Hunted by both sides, the alien felt his chest tighten. Fear clawed at him, but so did pride. "If they catch us, I will fight," he growled. "Even if it kills me." The human shook his head. "No, we survive. We do not throw life away." The alien's eyes burned. "You do not understand in my world. To be captured alive is worse than death. They will not forgive me for crying for mercy." The words struck the human deeply. He saw the shame in the alien's eyes, the fear of his own people. He realized the warrior was not only hunted by enemies, but by honor itself. They moved again, slipping through the ruins like shadows, every sound dangerous, every step heavy. The human carried most of the alien's weight. Sweat ran down his face, but he did not stop. At one point, they stumbled upon a burned transport, its metal hull blackened and twisted inside. Broken helmets and shattered weapons lay like ghosts. The alien looked at the wreck, his throat tight. He recognized the markings. They were from his own unit. "They are all gone," he whispered, his voice breaking. "I am the last." The human glanced at him but said nothing, only pressed forward. Suddenly, a flare shot into the sky. Red light bathing the battlefield. Both of them froze. Patrols shouted in the distance. Hunters had seen something. The chase had begun. The alien's fear turned sharp. "They are closing in," he rasped. "Both sides. They will not stop until..." "We are dead." The human's grip tightened on his rifle, his voice low, steady. "Then let them come. We will find a way out." The alien stared at him, something inside shifting again. This human, hunted by his own kind, hunted for mercy, still stood unbroken. They ran, stumbling through wreckage, the alien gasping with every step, the human dragging him forward, behind them. Voices roared. Boots thundered, the night alive with the sound of pursuit, and in that desperate flight, the alien warrior understood the truth he had feared. He was no longer afraid of dying. He was afraid of surviving with the human, afraid of what it meant, afraid of the bond neither of them could escape. The ruins swallowed them as they fled. Smoke and shadows cloaked their path. The sound of hunters echoed behind them. Closer with every heartbeat, the human pulled the alien into a collapsed shelter, broken walls still standing like jagged teeth inside. The air was thick with dust. It was quiet except for the warrior's heavy breathing. The human lowered him gently to the ground, his own body trembling with exhaustion. For a long moment, neither spoke. Silence pressed against them. Outside, lights swept the ruins. Voices barked orders. Footsteps crunched on shattered stone. But they passed by, leaving only darkness once more. The alien leaned against the wall, pain burning in every nerve. His sharp eyes studied the human. He wanted to hate him, wanted to cling to the stories of cruelty his people told. But the more he watched, the less those stories fit. "You risk everything for me," the alien rasped. But why, truly why? The human sat with his back to the wall, his rifle across his lap, his face pale under the dim glow of firelight. He hesitated before answering, his voice low, heavy. "Because I know what it is to be left behind." The alien frowned, confusion flashing in his gaze. "You," the human nodded slowly, his eyes distant. "My first battle, my unit was ambushed. Explosions everywhere, screams, fire. I was hit, bleeding, crawling through the dirt. I begged for help," his voice cracked slightly. "But they ran. They left me to die." The alien listened, a strange weight settling in his chest. He had expected strength, coldness, not this. Not honesty raw like a wound. "I survived," the human continued, his jaw tight. "But something inside me changed. I swore I would never do the same to anyone, not even an enemy." The words sank deep into the alien's heart. He wanted to reject them, to say mercy was weakness, but his throat tightened because part of him understood. His own people had strict codes of honor. Warriors never begged, never surrendered, but here he was, alive because he had done both, and alive because one human had chosen differently. Slowly the alien spoke, his voice rough. "We were told humans had no honor, that you only kill, that you do not understand loyalty." The human gave a faint, tired smile. "Maybe some don't, maybe many don't, but I am not them." The alien looked away, silence stretching between them, broken only by the crackle of distant flames. His chest rose and fell with labored breaths. Fear gnawed at him still, but something else grew beneath it, something dangerous. After a while, he whispered, "My clan did not want this war." His eyes clouded with memory. "We were bound by oath to another race, forced to fight in battles that were not ours. Many of us hated it, but honor left no choice." The human listened carefully, his eyes narrowing. "So you fight for someone else's cause?" The alien nodded weakly. "Yes, we fight because we are chained by vows. Our pride binds us even tighter than steel." He gave a bitter laugh. "And yet here I am, shamed for crying out. Alive because you did not kill me." The human leaned forward, his gaze steady. "Maybe shame is not in surviving. Maybe it is in giving up what makes you more than a soldier." The alien stared at him, words failing, his chest tight. The human's voice cut through years of belief like a blade. Outside, the voices of hunters grew faint, fading into the distance. For the first time since the battle ended, silence felt almost safe. The alien shifted painfully, leaning closer, his tone softer now. You speak like one who has lost much. The human's eyes darkened. He nodded. I lost my brother in the war, and my sister's smile when I left home. I fight, but I don't even know if there will be anything left to return to. The alien's sharp gaze softened. He thought of his own family, faces he might never see again, voices he would never hear. He felt a sting in his eyes but quickly looked away. For the first time they sat not as enemies, but as two souls. Bound by the same wound, minutes turned into hours, the darkness pressing close. But neither spoke further. Their stories had already said more than words could. The alien finally whispered, "When my people find me, they will not forgive this. They will call me broken." The human turned his head, his expression firm. "Then let them. You are alive. And life means you still have choices." The alien's heart pounded. The words stirred something deep inside him. Fear still clung to him, but now there was also a strange warmth. He did not know if it was trust or weakness, or something even more dangerous. But as he looked at the human sitting guard beside him, rifle ready, eyes never closing, he knew one thing. The bond between them was no longer a trick of survival. It was real, and it frightened him more than any army ever could. The shelter grew colder as the night dragged on. Silence pressed heavy on the two survivors, but outside, danger had not left. The hunters of both armies still roamed the ruins, their voices drifting on the wind, their lights sweeping across broken walls. The human knew they could not stay hidden forever. Sooner or later, the search would tighten. Their hiding place would be found. He studied the alien warrior's wounds, the bleeding slowed by crude bandages, but the warrior was still too weak to walk far. The alien felt the human's eyes on him, shame twisted in his chest. "You should leave me," he muttered. "Your life is worth more than mine." But the human shook his head firmly. "I don't leave anyone behind," his voice steady, heavy with promise. The alien turned away, his pride fighting with the strange warmth those words brought. He wanted to argue, but his strength was fading. And deep down, he feared being alone. Far more than he feared capture. The human glanced at the shattered ceiling, then toward the horizon, where faint red light still glowed from the earlier flare. He knew the enemy would sweep back soon, tighter, closer. They needed to move. "There is a supply tunnel under the ruins," the alien whispered suddenly, his voice weak but sharp with memory. "My people used it before the battle. It leads out of the killing ground." The human's eyes narrowed, hope flickering. "Where?" The alien pointed with a trembling hand toward a collapsed tower in the distance, rubble stacked high like a mountain of bones. "There, but it is dangerous. Unstable. Maybe already buried." The human stood, slinging his rifle across his shoulder, determination hard in his eyes. "Then it's our only chance." He pulled the alien to his feet, the warrior leaning heavily against him. Step by step they moved, slipping through shadow, crouching low when patrol lights passed, their breaths sharp and shallow in the cold air. The ruins stretched before them like a graveyard. Every corner could hide death. Every echo could bring enemies. Still, they pressed on, driven not by certainty, but by sheer will. The alien's heart pounded. Fear gnawed at him, not just of being caught, but of what it meant to run beside a human, hunted by both their kind, bound together by a choice neither could undo. At last, they reached the collapsed tower, its structure broken and jagged. The human scanned the wreckage quickly, then spotted a dark opening half buried under stone, a tunnel mouth. "This is it," the alien rasped, his voice tight. "But it may not hold." The human crouched, peering inside. The air from within smelled of rust, dust and old fire. Still he nodded. "We go." They slipped into the tunnel, darkness swallowing them. The walls groaned with age, rubble shifting with each step. The human supported the alien, his rifle in his free hand. The alien leaned heavily, his pride cracking with each breath. The passage twisted downward, deeper into the ruins. Echoes of their footsteps bounced around them. Above, faintly, they could still hear the shouts of hunters, closing in on the surface. The alien whispered, "If it collapses, we will be buried alive." The human answered without hesitation, "Better to die moving than to wait for death to find us." The alien fell silent, his sharp eyes watching the human's steady stride. And for the first time, he believed those words. Suddenly, a rumble shook the tunnel. Dust rained from the ceiling. Stone cracked, both froze, listening. A section behind them caved in, blocking the way back. The alien's chest tightened, panic flickering in his eyes. "We are trapped." The human gritted his teeth. "No, we keep going, forward only." They pushed on, the tunnel narrowing, forcing them to crawl. The human moved first, dragging. The alien, when his strength failed, sweat ran down his face, every muscle burning. But he refused to stop. Then, from ahead, light flickered, torches, voices not human, alien raiders patrolling the tunnels. The alien's blood froze. His people, his hunters. If they saw him with a human, they would not hesitate. He would be branded a traitor, executed on the spot. The human pressed him back against the wall, raising his rifle, his voice barely a breath. "Stay quiet, let me handle this." The alien's heart pounded, fear and conflict tearing inside him. Should he warn his people, call for them, or stay silent with the human? The patrol passed, shadows flickering across the stone walls, their guttural voices echoing. They did not look deeper into the tunnel. And soon, their steps faded. The alien let out a shaky breath, shame burning in his chest. He had not called, he had chosen silence. The human's eyes caught his, steady and unyielding. "We're close," he whispered. "Don't lose hope now." They crawled further, until finally, cold night air touched their faces. The tunnel opened onto a cliffside, stars stretching above like silver fire. The battlefield far behind. The alien collapsed onto the ground. Breathing hard, the human dropped. Beside him, exhausted but alive, for a moment, both simply lay there, staring at the stars. The silence no longer heavy with fear, but with something strange, something almost like peace. The alien whispered, "You risked everything." The human replied, his voice soft but firm, "I told you, I don't leave anyone behind." And though fear still lingered, the alien felt something else rise within him. Not shame, not anger, but the terrifying spark of trust. The shelter grew colder as the night dragged on. Silence pressed heavy on the two survivors, but outside, danger had not left. The hunters of both armies still roamed the ruins, their voices drifting on the wind, their lights sweeping across broken walls. The human knew they could not stay hidden forever. Sooner or later, the search would tighten. Their hiding place would be found. He studied the alien warrior's wounds, the bleeding slowed by crude bandages, but the warrior was still too weak to walk far. The alien felt the human's eyes on him, shame twisted in his chest. "You should leave me," he muttered. "Your life is worth more than mine." But the human shook his head firmly. "I don't leave anyone behind," his voice steady, heavy with promise. The alien turned away, his pride fighting with the strange warmth those words brought. He wanted to argue, but his strength was fading. And deep down, he feared being alone. Far more than he feared capture. The human glanced at the shattered ceiling, then toward the horizon, where faint red light still glowed from the earlier flare. He knew the enemy would sweep back soon. Tighter, closer, they needed to move. "There is a supply tunnel under the ruins," the alien whispered suddenly, his voice weak but sharp with memory. "My people used it before the battle. It leads out of the killing ground." The human's eyes narrowed, hope flickering. "Where?" The alien pointed with a trembling hand toward a collapsed tower in the distance. "Rubble stacked high like a mountain of bones. There. But it is dangerous. Unstable. Maybe already buried." The human stood, slinging his rifle across his shoulder, determination hard in his eyes. "Then it's our only chance." He pulled the alien to his feet, the warrior leaning heavily against him. Step by step they moved, slipping through shadow, crouching low when patrol lights passed, their breaths sharp and shallow in the cold air. The ruins stretched before them like a graveyard. Every corner could hide death. Every echo could bring enemies. Still, they pressed on. Driven not by certainty, but by sheer will, the alien's heart pounded. Fear gnawed at him, not just of being caught, but of what it meant to run beside a human, hunted by both their kind. Bound together by a choice neither could undo, at last they reached the collapsed tower. Its structure broken and jagged, the humans scanned the wreckage quickly, then spotted a dark opening half buried under stone, a tunnel mouth. "This is it," the alien rasped, his voice tight. "But it may not hold." The human crouched, peering inside. The air from within smelled of rust, dust and old fire. Still, he nodded. "We go." They slipped into the tunnel, darkness swallowing them. The walls groaned with age, rubble shifting with each step. The human supported the alien, his rifle in his free hand. The alien leaned heavily, his pride cracking with each breath. The passage twisted downward, deeper into the ruins. Echoes of their footsteps bounced around them. Above, faintly, they could still hear the shouts of hunters closing in on the surface. The alien whispered, "If it collapses, we will be buried alive." The human answered without hesitation, "Better to die moving than to wait for death to find us." The alien fell silent, his sharp eyes watching the human's steady stride. And for the first time, he believed those words. Suddenly, a rumble shook the tunnel. Dust rained from the ceiling. Stone cracked, both froze, listening. A section behind them caved in, blocking the way back. The alien's chest tightened, panic flickering in his eyes. "We are trapped." The human gritted his teeth. "No, we keep going. Forward only." They pushed on, the tunnel narrowing, forcing them to crawl. The human moved first, dragging the alien when his strength failed. Sweat ran down his face, every muscle burning. But he refused to stop. Then, from ahead, light flickered, torches, voices not human, alien raiders patrolling the tunnels. The alien's blood froze, his people, his hunters. If they saw him with a human, they would not hesitate. He would be branded a traitor, executed on the spot. The human pressed him back against the wall, raising his rifle, his voice barely a breath. "Stay quiet, let me handle this." The alien's heart pounded, fear and conflict tearing inside him. Should he warn his people, call for them, or stay silent with the human? The patrol passed, shadows flickering across the stone walls, their guttural voices echoing. They did not look deeper into the tunnel. And soon, their steps faded. The alien let out a shaky breath, shame burning in his chest. He had not called. He had chosen silence. The human's eyes caught his, steady and unyielding. "We're close," he whispered. "Don't lose hope now." They crawled further, until finally, cold night air touched their faces. The tunnel opened onto a cliffside, stars stretching above like silver fire. The battlefield far behind. The alien collapsed onto the ground. Breathing hard, the human dropped beside him, exhausted but alive. For a moment, both simply lay there, staring at the stars. The silence no longer heavy with fear, but with something strange, something almost like peace. The alien whispered, "You risked everything." The human replied, his voice soft but firm, "I told you, I don't leave anyone behind." And though fear still lingered, the alien felt something else rise within him. Not shame, not anger, but the terrifying spark of trust. Asterisk. The cliffside air was sharp and cold. The stars stretched endless above them. The alien warrior lay on the ground, his chest rising with shallow breaths, while the human sat beside him, rifle across his lap, both alive, but far from safe. Below, in the valley, lights glowed like fireflies. Both human patrols and alien raiders still searched. The hunt was not over. They had escaped the tunnel. But survival was still uncertain. The human scanned the horizon, his eyes heavy but sharp. "We need to move further," he said quietly. "If they find this exit, we are trapped again." the alien groaned, trying to push himself up, his body weak, but his pride refused to let him lie helpless. "I can walk," he muttered, though his legs trembled beneath him. The human caught his arm, steadying him. "Not alone," he said firmly. They moved along the cliffside, shadows covering them, the ground uneven, rocks slipping under their boots. Every step carried risk. Every sound could draw hunters closer. Halfway across, a sharp whistle cut the night air. Then a beam of light swept across them. Shouts followed. Both froze. Enemy soldiers had spotted them. Human voices from one side, alien roars from the other. Both groups closing in. The human raised his rifle, firing into the darkness. Bullets sparked against stone. Enemies dove for cover. Return fire cracked through the night. The alien staggered, clutching the wall, unable to fight. "Go," the human shouted, pushing him forward. "I'll hold them back." The alien spun, eyes blazing. "If you stay, you will die." The human's jaw was tight, but his voice was steady. "Then I die buying you time." The alien's chest burned, confusion, anger, and something deeper twisting inside. He had seen loyalty among his own, but never like this, never from an enemy. The human fired again, forcing back the advancing soldiers. His silhouette lit by muzzle flashes. Shouts echoed as the enemy tried to flank. The alien staggered forward, but after a few steps he stopped, his hands trembling, his heart pounding. He could leave. He could run into the shadows and live. But something rooted him in place. He looked back, saw the human alone, standing against both armies, refusing to abandon him. And in that moment, the alien warrior made his choice. With a roar, he turned back, grabbing a fallen blade from the ground. Pain lanced through his body, but he ignored it. He charged into the fight, striking at shadows. His own people and the humans alike stunned to see him beside their enemy. The human's eyes widened in shock. But then, for the first time he smiled, a grim, fierce smile. Together, back to back, they fought. The alien's blade flashed. The human's rifle roared. Enemies fell, retreating into the night, confused and broken by the impossible sight of human and alien fighting as one. When the last shots faded, silence fell once more. The alien dropped to his knees, blood dripping from fresh wounds. The human caught him before he fell, lowering him gently to the ground. "You are a fool," the alien rasped, coughing. "Staying for me." The human shook his head, his voice soft. "No, you are the fool, coming back for me." The alien gave a weak laugh, a sound broken but real. "Perhaps we are both fools." The human tightened the bandage on his side, his hands firm, his expression grim. "No, perhaps we are both more than soldiers." The alien's sharp eyes met his, and in that moment, something unspoken passed between them. Stronger than loyalty, stronger than fear. A bond forged not by orders, but by choice, above them. The stars still burned, silent witnesses to the impossible alliance. The alien whispered, his voice fading. When all others left, only a human stayed. The human gripped his shoulder, steady and unyielding. And when all hope was lost, only an alien returned. The night closed around them. The war still raged beyond the horizon, but in the ruins of that battlefield, something new had been born. Not mercy, not weakness, but strength and unity, a bond written in blood and survival. They were hunted by their own, betrayed by their sides, yet together, they had carved out a truth greater than war itself. And though the world would never understand, the alien warrior and the human soldier both knew this night would be remembered, not as the night of death, but as the night a warrior cried for mercy, and only a human stayed behind. Asterisk.